On today's show, we discover a massive cache of ancient carvings.
It's really, really long leg.
Their Minnesota location, the heart of farming country.
501.
This Minnesota couple hopes their work might help monarch butterflies flourish.
And I can wrap it.
And a simple and fun campfire recipe fit for your next family camping trip.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hi everybody, Bill, Millie and I welcome you to Minnesota Bound.
You know, I think it is fair to say that most Minnesotans have no idea that we're home to one of North America's single largest collections of petroglyphs.
Thousands of ancient carvings hide in farming country.
Brown County, Minnesota's corn country. But if you look past the crops, history hides here too.
It's really beautiful here and lots of history and lots to learn. So it's really a living place that changes.
Tucked in amidst a prairie of native grass and flowers, 10,000 years of stories documented right on the ground.
We're out here at Jeffers Petroglyphs. A petroglyph is a rock carving. At this site in particular, we have about 8,000 carvings left by Native Americans that date back to at least 10,000 years, and with the last carvings being made about 250 years ago.
David Breezy manages this historic site, 160 acres of prairie and rock.
And this is part of the Red Rock Ridge, which extends for about 20 miles east to west.
The Red Rock, said to be born of the blood of Native American ancestors.
You know, they came here to escape a flood, and because it was the high ground. But it wasn't high enough. So then they were crushed by the water, and they stained the rock. You know, scientific explanation, there's iron oxide that mixed with silica to make it red, but you know, both are true. It's just two different lenses that you have to look through.
People documented stories on the Sioux quartzite rock.
See this kind of long beak and head right here, and then these really, really long legs, a hump for that shoulder, and then legs again, that hip, and then a short little tail. And what we're looking at right here is a moose. It's a moose were in this area about 9,000 years ago. The Sioux quartzite is so hard, it's a 7.5 on the Mohs mineral scale of hardness. And so it's tougher in granite, you need diamond to cut it. They're gonna be using a tool that's slightly harder. That rock is chert, and chert is traditionally used to make stone tools, like arrowheads and scrapers. And then it would be a hammer stone held in your hand, and then you'd be pounding. So we're looking at two natural cracks in the rock face. These naturally align to the summer solstice sunrise. On that day, a beam of light drops in between those cracks, and then it gradually expands. Since this aligns to the summer solstice sunrise, it naturally aligns to the winter solstice sunset.
A natural calendar of sorts. Another of the Jeffers petroglyph stories.
We've been driving by this place for 50 years and never stopped in. And we said, okay, we better do it because time's running out.
Gary Messer and his wife took the day tour, a 45-minute guided walk.
It's fantastic, yeah. Yeah, I mean, people that are interested in archaeology and, you know, what went on in this country, North America, over the last 10,000 years, yeah, it's a place to come.
After 5 until 7 or 8, depending on the month, we can walk anywhere on the rock face. And folks take off their shoes with us. It's a way we can show respect to the sacredness of the space.
That's where you get a barefoot experience, and you get to go beyond the ropes and just kind of find the carvings and experience the site. So you have the head, that hump, back to the tail. Like, this is a very old variation of bison. Right down here we have what kind of looks like a natural snake head with its tongue sticking out. And we get up right up here, and then you have this circle right here. and this is a village. But we're looking at a carving that's about 30 feet long. This is probably the largest prehistoric carving of a map in the United States. We find carvings every year. Like this year we found 12 more. If you don't mark it, you can't come back to it and record it.
Although each meaning not always clear as the carving.
A lot of them we don't know the stories of, and a lot of them hold protected knowledge, so we're not intended to know the stories.
History to share and forever protected in stone. Coming up, a close look at one of our region's most threatened summer species, one that has always mesmerized Minnesotans.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, Star Bank, White Bear Lake Superstore, and by your boat club.
Get this. Researchers suggest that our population of monarch butterflies has declined by as much as 90% since the 1990s.
My dad, Ron Shera, met a Twin Cities couple working hard to change the fate of our butterflies.
Well, we are stuffing each of these envelopes with several seeds, and then we seal them up and send them off.
Send them off to help save our endangered monarch butterflies with milkweed seeds?
There's about 30 milkweed seeds per packet. So we only do the common milkweed, which is the Asclepias syriaca.
You see, monarchs are dependent on milkweed plants for food and to store their eggs. So it's that simple. Disappearing milkweeds, disappearing monarchs.
Well, I love it. I get about 25 letters a day from our clients asking for free milkweeds.
You could say the future of monarchs depends in part on the Johnson's milkweed seed operation, an idea that sprouted in the middle of the night.
On March 15th, 2014, I woke up in the middle of the night and came to the realization that all the people I'd talked to about monarchs were just talking. That's all they did. They were just educated. They wanted to educate. Education is great, except we decided between the two of us, let's fill milkweed packets with seeds and send them out to people.
Today, the demand for milkweeds has no end in sight. So far, get this, seeds have been sent to 24,000 schools.
It's enough seeds to create a 10 by 10 foot garden in the schoolyard. And we do it for scout trips, FHA things, churches, Rotary clubs. Almost anybody can qualify for this, just to get more people planting these milkweed seeds.
In the beginning, the Johnsons hand-filled seed packets at their kitchen table.
I think the first year we did about 8,000. You know, it was a lot of work. It gets tedious when you're filling those things.
Today, a seed company in New Hampshire prints and fills the milkweed packets, which are then shipped to Chanhassen, Minnesota, to be distributed.
Well, we went from 80 to 100 to 200 to 500. Now we're doing over 1 million a year. We've shipped a total of 8 million.
Distributing milkweeds isn't cheap.
We try not to take as much out of our pocket as we can, so we do ask people for a $5 donation. If you look at every seed pack on the back, it says $5 donation requested. So we don't demand it. We give them away no matter what, but we like it if people give $5 or $10 or $50 or $100. And it's amazing how I've got must have 4,000 people on my list of people that have donated money to this.
We do love our monarchs.
And you know, it really has been a good deal. We don't take any salary. I pay people.
You still don't.
Huh?
You still don't get any money.
We're a regular 501(c)(3) charity.
Yep.
And that's our website is saveourmonarchs.org. And that's if anybody sends a self-addressed stamped envelope to that address, Save Our Monarchs, P.O. Box 390135, we'll send them immediately packets of seeds.
Fine and dandy. But the question remains, are the monarchs responding to more milkweeds?
But they have increased. I mean, we hear back from people, oh my gosh, we have so many monarchs this year. We're 3 years ago we had none. So, I mean, that's hardly scientific, but it does give us some feedback.
Last year was one of the first years we've had an upturn in the monarch return from Mexico. It's like a small upturn, but at least it was a bit of an upturn. And that's we don't have any other goals. Our simple goal, we said, plant these milkweed one at a time.
Sadly, time is also of the essence. 90% of the monarch population has disappeared.
My biggest enemy is Roundup. It kills everything.
The chemical kills milkweed, thus indirectly kills monarchs.
Everybody that writes in say, keep going, and every one of my letters says, we're never going to quit. And that's kind of our mantra here. Until they haul me out of here, I'm going to do this.
Still ahead, divers go back in time to explore a Great Lake shipwreck. But first, Laura Shera shows you a simple recipe for your next family outing.
Closed captioning provided by Voyager Lodge and Houseboats.
Hi everybody, today we are cooking over the campfire, but we are going to make some kid-friendly recipes. So I'm with Ryan, who's the Outdoor Education Supervisor with Three Rivers Park District. And Ryan, what are we making today?
Today we're gonna make bread on a stick.
Oh, that sounds fun. Well, what are the first steps to getting started?
First thing we gotta go, find a stick.
Ooh, let's do it. So Ryan, any suggestions on the type of stick I'm looking for here?
Yeah, I'm thinking like 3 to 4 feet long, maybe about the size of a pool cue.
This looks pool cue-like. How does this look, Ryan?
Looks great.
Ryan, I noticed you're pulling some of the bark off your stick. Is that to get it a little cleaner?
Yeah, I feel a little better if I have it clean and have the dirt off of it.
That's true. So we have our sticks. I assume now it's time to mix the ingredients?
Yeah, all you need is some all-purpose like biscuit mix and water, and we'll just mix those together.
2 ingredients.
That's it.
How easy.
I just dump it in, and I'm only making a little bit just for both of us today. And then when I mix it with the water, I don't want to put too much water in there. I want it kind of dry, because when we're putting it on our stick, we don't want it to be, sticky or gooey, so mix it on the dry side.
I like your style of cooking. It's like eyeball it. That's how I do it at home.
That's how it is over the campfire. You don't have a measuring cup. Just eyeball it and mix it till it's a good dough. Next step is we're gonna take our dough and get it kind of rolled up, about the size of a golf ball, maybe a little bit bigger. And then what I like to do is I like to think of it like Play-Doh. We used to make a snake out of your Play-Doh?
Yes.
I wanna kind of make it a nice skinny snake. And now I have my biscuit mix and I can wrap it, then kind of push it on so it sticks to your stick. I want it to stay on the stick, so kind of make it so it's firmly against the stick. Right.
Are we ready to roast?
Yep, we're ready.
Hey.
And it's kind of like roasting a marshmallow, but it's just going to take a little bit longer because we're roasting bread.
Sure, so patience is the key here.
Patience is the key, and then I usually rotate it, as I'm cooking.
Approximately how many minutes of roasting do you think?
I usually think about 3 to 5 minutes, but it kind of depends on how much dough you have and how hot your fire is.
Mine seems pretty flaky and done.
Yeah, mine looks golden brown.
All right, time to do a taste test?
Let's taste it. Take the biscuit and slide it right off. And there's a little dough left on here, not a big deal, but as you can see now I have a done piece of bread.
You do, let's see here.
There you go.
Oh! That's a rookie mistake.
You still got a nice piece though.
I do.
Well, I like to eat the bread with a little bit of honey or jelly, or it's just good just by itself as well.
All right, I'm gonna test mine with a little bit of honey.
Okay.
Bread on a stick. It's good.
Tasty.
Mm-hmm. 2 ingredients, simple campfire cooking for your family. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, no problem.
It was delicious.
Up next, the surreal and watery world of a Great Lake shipwreck.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Flow Docks and Lifts, Coors Light, And by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Today's Minnesota-bound classic takes Ron Shera back to Lake Superior's Isle Royale. It's the site of several shipwrecks.
When the sun shines on Isle Royale, Lake Superior's waves gleam like a friendly smile. But when the wind blows and the skies turn dark, those peaceful waters turn ugly.
Isle Royale is a big obstacle in Lake Superior. Over the years, it has served as a harbor of refuge. In bad storms, you can get in the lee of Isle Royale and travel along that way, but if you're close to the island, you ran the risk of running aground on the island that you were using to save yourself.
The combination of wind and waves can tear ships apart against the island's rocks and send unlucky sailors to the bottom. But for a few months each year, those bygone tragedies become recreation for more than 1,000 divers who brave the cold water for a glimpse of the past.
You know, in a way, when you dive a shipwreck, you're kind of touching an era gone by. It's machinery that they had back at the turn of the century. You kind of can almost feel the people that lived aboard the boats.
People like the sailor who manned this pump in a failing effort to save his ship, or the quiet soul who relaxed here during better times. And imagine a captain's last view of his vessel looking something like this.
You come down and you see this incredible structure in front of you. You can actually go inside, swim around the engine, see the generators. One of the wrecks, the Emperor, actually has a milk jug sitting on the galley stove, and it has curdled milk still in it. So there's a lot of big things to see and also little things.
The wrecks, like Isle Royale, are protected by the National Park Service.
Of course, you can't take anything off of the ships, and actually divers are pretty good about that nowadays.
Good enough to steal only a look and leave the rest for the next visitors. 10 major shipwrecks rest near Isle Royale, some hundreds of feet long. Ships with names like Algoma, Congdon, and America. Those ghosts of the past create an ominous presence even today.
As you get closer, you start to see shadows, and then shadows turn into parts of the wreck. And so it's kind of this foggy apparition.
In the book of Isle Royale shipwrecks, the Emperor is the last of the big boats to sink. A June storm pushed the 7,000-ton freighter onto a reef near Isle Royale in 1947. She sank so fast that 11 crewmen and the captain went down too.
You know, even now with all the technology that we have, the island is still here, and it can still bring a vessel down.
Yes, Mother Nature has the final word in this story, and the forces of nature can always add another chapter.
Hmm. 350 shipwrecks have been documented on Lake Superior alone.
Haunting.
Scary. Well, that about does it for us. Bill, Millie, and I will see you back here next week.
In the meantime, what do we always say? Remember to introduce a kid to the great outdoors. Right, Millie?
That's it.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.